We kick off with our first match. Is the Fabulous Freebirds versus the Young Pistols for the US Tag Team Championships. Out comes Diamond Dallas Page. He is the Freebirds manager.
Yes.
He has got a headset mic. I believe only been rigged up to the PA, not the actual TV feed.
So you can't really hear what he's saying.
And the commentators have not been briefed to stop talking when he is talking. Right. So he comes out for his bit and he's going, yeah, just good God. And they're just like, so that DDP running his mouth off. I was like, Jesus Christ, lads.
Chairman of the board of the Diamond Exchange.
Line it up.
Diamond Dallas Page.
I'll take off.
And ladies and gentlemen, he represents from Bad Street, USA, in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey!
The greatest rock and roll band of all time.
Good God, it doesn't get any better than this, he says. Good God.
Yeah.
So many good gods in this.
Lovely.
Again, when he looks back on it, I think, sometimes when I listen to an old WrestleMe, which I've started to do solely so I can sort of go, do I have a good god? I do. I've got loads of them.
Indeed, absolutely. No, what do I say? I say something, it's gotta be, baby. I say that all the time. It's gotta be a day.
Oh, keep those hands away from me. You say that's an annoying one. The Freebirds came out, and I don't know whether it's because I've been watching some modern wrestling recently, it's been winding me up. But they came out, and for the first time, I actually went, I'm glad to see them. And they came out, and in the ring, they were actually really funny. Yeah, okay. Normally, I'm sort of like, you disgust me, and your gimmick is, I'm the greatest rock and roll band ever. You might as well come out and go, I am some mountains, because it's so wrong and blatantly wrong. But then when they came out, I was like, I am enjoying all of this. I'm enjoying their stupid bob as they walk down, the good
crappy
bob.
Music.
People who bob when they walk, I secretly really envy. I think it's a strange, arrogant
it reminds
swagger.
Me, apparently, I've got a very distinctive gait, and I have likened it myself to the end of Real Ghostbusters, the cartoon. It's a bit Vince McMahon.
I don't think I've ever walked behind you.
No.
I've only ever walked at your side. I can't see the circumstances whereby you'd be in front.
We'll pop out on the top of the court road and I'll do some outside Greg's.
I really enjoyed the Freebirds in this. I thought they were...
I enjoyed Big Daddy Dink.
Yes, I enjoyed it more knowing he hated that gimmick so badly that he basically retired from wrestling. and that made me sort of go, I appreciate your work, thank you.
He definitely would not wear those clothes by choice. He just doesn't look comfortable in them. There was on the BBC website, there was a man who came out at 80 to his gay daughter. A gay daughter he hadn't been particularly supportive to when she came out, 40 years ago. But he seemed to come out and didn't go straight for the lifestyle of the actual being with a man.
Yeah.
He just mainly went for the clothes. And he went... It's like, you could wear those rainbow clothes if you wanted to, even if you weren't gay, mate. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah. But it seemed very important to him that he started with just buying out all of the flags.
Yeah.
All of the clothes.
I had an image of him just sitting there in either like a PVC crop top at 80.
So he looked a
with
bit
the
like...
word toy printed on it.
It was a bit like that. It was a bit like, you're not dressing for your age, gay or straight.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. But he looked like Big Daddy Dink.
Really?
Yeah.
I enjoyed this match. It was quite funny. I went online, I did see something, and everyone was really down on this match. They were like, it's boring. It's the Birds and the Pistols actually have much better matches than that. I'm sure they did. But I really enjoyed this. And the reason I really liked it is the Pistols work incredibly hard. And the Freebirds did the classic thing of going, we are veteran heels.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they just do a load of business. And there's a great bit that the Pistols begin leading the clapping, to get the crowd behind them. And then Michael Hayes walks over to a different corner and starts leading the clapping. And no one does it. And he looks sort of taken aback. Like, what are you people doing? I love that waste of time.
Yes.
But also, that's all part of the spectacle of pro wrestling. Working the crowd. There's loads of little there's a bit of Big Daddy Dink cheating.
Yeah.
And then they send him to the back and the crowd always over cheer for people being sent to the back. I don't understand what it is. Get out of here! Get out of
interfering
here!
all the time. Yeah. It's like VAR in soccer. I just want it to be the same every single time.
Yeah. Brad Armstrong, who is the brother of one of the Young Pistols, Steve Armstrong, he sort of comes in to stop the cheating.
Yeah.
But he actually gets into the ring. And for me, that is like, you're going to send Big Daddy Dink out for doing a trip. Yeah, absolutely.
Fine.
But Brad Armstrong has just entered the ring during a match.
Exactly. He's a pitch
He
invader.
should be suspended, Pete.
Get him off.
He should be suspended. They should just take him back and just go, Brad, saw the run-in.
Sorry, mate.
You're going to have to go straight to HR. They're going to terminate. It's basically that. There is a clause, clearly.
You've got a meeting with the boss. Your appointed HR will be with you. You think it's to protect you. It's not. It's to protect the company. Do not fall into that trap. Many wrestlers have fallen into that trap. Garvin flips into the ring hilariously slowly at one point.
It's great, isn't it? They pull him in over the ropes and he does
shit. I loved it.
A 180, but he does stop at about 85, 98,
like
and 100. It's
like
great.
a slow egg timer.
But he also, when he does hit, he just keeps holding onto the rope and doesn't move.
Going,
Because, whoa, no, who's this out of nowhere?
Whoa, there's a run-in.
What the fuck is this?
A fucking chicken.
It looks crap, doesn't it?
Nobody has learned the lesson from the Black Scorpion.
No.
And they have made the Black Scorpion with feathers.
Out comes this tiny little thing, a cross between a bird and a spider. It comes out and it performs better than anyone has in the ring so far, giving it credit. It's got sort of black outfit. Again, slightly that thing where they've not drawn what it should look like. No. They've made it.
The concept art is not existing. They've started with the sewing machine.
They've just cracked on. They've just cracked on and they've kept embellishing it. And you've suddenly seen it and just gone, I don't know what this is.
Dave, you're on in 3 hours. Get it fucking on your mate.
So he comes out and he does this.
This is Fantasia.
We don't find that out until he's had his little in-ring paddy. Yeah. Jim Ross goes, he's got Fantasia written on his shirt. And he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
They're just trying to work out how to do this.
I've been told that he's got Fantasia written on his shirt. How does that work?
I've been reminded that I was to say he had Fantasia written on his shirt.
He's got him hooked. And a DDT from the second turnbuckle.
Look at this. He's got two of them. Who is this guy?
The referee is down. A pair of DDTs.
He's leaving the ring.
His shirt said Fantasia on it.
That's Fantasia. They talked about Fantasia.
Now, the Freebirds had been talking in previous interviews on television about Fantasia. When's Fantasia coming?
Wow.
All this, somewhere in Burbank, California, a Disney lawyer's ear is twitching. But it's such a cheap costume he's got on that I by the end of it, there's a lot of feathers in the ring. They're just falling off this thing.
They've dyed one of Ric Flair's robes. It's a piece of shit. Well done.
So that is Fantasia, and off he runs, and the Freebirds pick up the win. They immediately cut to some children in the front row really cheering the result, which isn't what you want. You don't want to see children cheering the Freebirds. They're supposed to be the bad guys.
Yeah.
But again, it's that thing about titles. Titles were important here, and they'd seen a title change, and that was all that mattered. Fantasia, even though they never really referenced it, it was really well set up in this match, because Fantasia is actually Brad Armstrong.
Right.
So he has come out in this match to stop the interference. And actually, it's a really clever bit of scripting, because he will then come back as the masked guy, cost them the match. But they never at any point revealed that Fantasia was Brad Armstrong.
No.
So this bit was done, obviously, for something, I don't know, maybe a year down the line? Who knows? But it was not a run covered in glory. When people talk about the Fabulous Freebirds and they list them all, they never list Bad Street Stroke Fantasia. It's just, he's the one who was in it who they never mentioned. It's really heartbreaking for him.
Any custom figurines?
No, there's never been a Bad Street figure. There's also, I don't think, ever been a Bad Street t-shirt, which I would be well up for. Molting on my way to the shop, bits of it falling out. So then we get some matches which I'd never seen before. This is Dan Spivey versus Ricky Morton.
More chaps.
This is an hour that I'd never seen before. This is all stuff that the network has been really good at. Rather than just putting out, here's the video. They've gone back to the original film and they've put it all up. Spivey comes out. He was a member of the Skyscrapers. We've seen him since lose to like Lex Luger and people like that. So it's funny that they were immediately trying to rebuild him at this point. Out he comes. He genuinely does look like the sort of bloke, if you saw in a bar who looked like that, you would be legitimately frightened of.
Well, Spivey in 2020, his head veins are incredible. He still looks in decent nick, but he seems to have concentrated on his head veins. I think he thinks that's the new muscle, go-to muscle.
Look, we always laugh at pioneers, don't we?
He seems to talk very fondly about Sid Vicious, but is in every interview explaining that he was a very limited performer.
Yeah. Well, Spivey was, back in the day, was not a bad performer at all. He was like a very big Barry Windham. Right. But by the time this happened, he was just beginning to fall apart physically.
Yeah.
He had a run in the WWE a few years after this as Waylon Mercy, that basically he signed up with them. They gave him a character which was like a character from Cape Fear played by Robert De Niro, and he just basically said, look, I can't really move. So they brought him out and they had him lose his first match, which never happened at that point. It was a gimmick that everybody actually goes, in retrospect, that looked like a brilliant gimmick, but he just could not do it. He just couldn't do it.
And do you know what's going to happen when I throw this here rock into the water just like that? It's going to sink, but it's also going to create ripples. Now, when Waylon Mercy gets to the WWF and he gets into that ring, you think he's going to create ripples? I don't think so. He's going to create a great big wave. You know what I mean?
So I think even at this point, he's beginning to struggle. Dusty struggles over the word dictate. He has to say he says dictate 3 times in one sentence. And the more he says it, the harder he finds it. So you've got to dictate the page. You've got to dictate the... and by the 3rd time, he's going, dictate. It really is all over the shop. Spivey does a razor's edge, which is a sort of falling crucifix powerbomb. And that's probably one of the first times it was performed in a US ring in one of the big 2 federations. It would later become the finishing move of Razor Ramon.
It looked very painful because it was kind of on the side of his back.
There's no way, really, to protect your opponent on that. What you're asking is, you're saying to them, you are going to fall 6 feet. I hope you land flat. But you sort of go, and what's your role in this? You just go,
I'm going to be the figure.
I am the instigator.
I'm going to be the diving board. You fall off.
How are you going to protect me on that? Well, I won't try and grab your legs on the way down and tip you up on your head, but that's as much as I can do.
Yeah.
That did look a bit painful.
Spivey missed with that clothesline, and Morton cross body, but Spivey catches Morton like a small child and falls away with a slam.
Ricky Morton here is a sad case.
Right.
He's been a huge star all of his career. He's given some of the best matches in the late 80s in the NWA, in Crockett Promotions. And he's given a lot to that company. And he's getting old now. And they are phasing him out. And so to take someone who was such a big star, and from time to time a main eventer, he had some great hour-long draws with Ric Flair, to put him in a match like this against a big guy and to have him treated so comprehensively.
Yeah.
There's a little bit right at the end, which is sort of interesting. So Spivey, it's an annoying end where there's a miscommunication and they just run into each other and they just have to sort of work out what's going on. And I think there's a quick garbled, whatever it is. But Spivey, after that little fuck up, just kicks him in the stomach and gives him a powerbomb and it's over. And there isn't a sense of them going back to something to try and make it smoother before just going to the end. But they go to the end. And Spivey then puts his foot on Ricky Morton's chest and he counts the 3 count. And Ricky Morton does roll out before the 3 count. And there is a funny thing about, there are some things that you just don't do. And one of those is Ricky Morton was an established star who gave a lot to the business. And it's fine. He knows he's going to lose this match to Dan Spivey, but you don't do it with no respect.
Yeah.
And that thing of just putting your foot on someone's chest and doing it, for a star, that is like the worst thing that you could possibly do.
Right.
Because it shows, what it's doing is it's burying your career.
Yeah.
You didn't get pinned, you didn't lose, the other guy wasn't the better man. You've been totally dominated. And when they pin you, they are showing no respect for your legacy or your character. And you can see that he does pull out at 3. And that's all he can do in that situation, beyond getting up and just going, why is it that I, who can wrestle, am not being allowed to wrestle?
Yeah.
I really felt for him there. He has remained one of those guys that, if you look back now, who is the Hall of Famer in that match? It's Ricky Morton all day long.
Yeah.
Will Dan Spivey ever be in a Hall of Fame? Probably not. Unless there's a head vein one, which let me tell you, I would visit.
Yes, very much so.
But I think it's, it's a slightly sad thing. What this match really is it's talking about the changing, and it's saying we are no longer the old NWA WCW. We are WCW, and we are going forward into the future there. And there was no place for people like Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
And that's a really sad thing to see.
No jamming, just slamming. SuperBrawl Sunday. Bring the the action home live, May 19th, only on pay-per-view.
I never like the names of a lot of
SuperBrawl.
WCW shows. Yeah,
It sounds like Speedball, the video game.
Yeah.
Speedball 2.
SuperBrawl. It also
Brutal
sounds like in
Deluxe.
bad 1980s action movies. They would sort of have,
Welcome to the SuperBrawl.
Oh my God,
Paul.
am I going to have to fight for my freedom here? Yes, and you'll be fighting against Mr. Gronk. You know, it's that sort of.
Gronky gonna get ya.
Oh no.
Oh, Gronkles.
Oh, Harnson, you can't fight him. He's a space mutant. Yeah. So I didn't like all those sorts of. Oddly, SummerSlam works. I think SummerSlam is a good title, even though it has the word slam in.
Motherfuckers. CM Punk and other people on Fox.
Fucking Renee Young.
Maybe
Booker T.
Booker T's there as well. All doing a fucking show about SummerSlam 91.
Look, I don't think we invented what is sometimes referred to as the after wrestling industry. I don't think we invented that. I am not taking credit
Wrestling
for it.
Aftercare.
What I
giving
would
you
say,
context and a bit of self-respect back that you lost watching it.
What I would say is, okay, the WWE, it's fine for them to review their old product.
Yeah.
Are they going to do it where they bring back CM Punk? Which, let me tell you, the only reason they're doing that is to create confusion in the marketplace with you. People will see that, they'll go, "That's Pete Donaldson.
Yes.
This must be something like WrestleMania."
Yes.
I haven't watched it.
They've done a fake Diesel.
Yeah.
They've done a fake,
That's exactly what they've done.
Pete Donaldson, and they've put him on the Fox fucking Sports
Exactly.
Network, and they're doing a show about SummerSlam. We did that at the Podcast Festival 2018.
Exactly.
I was dressed as fucking Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yep.
Mark was dressed as Gorilla Monsoon,
Yep.
and we looked fantastic. We knocked it out of the fucking park. We had videos. It's CM Punk running his own videos. This is my pipe bomb promo about playout software on the
thing
Mac.
that I'm annoyed about is I sort of go, well, obviously, you know, the CM Punk is replacing you. And with me, they've gone, let's replace him with a woman and a man of colour. And I've looked at that and I thought, I've got no comeback to that.
No.
Because, I mean, that really is the problem with this show.
We are punching down inexplicably because every man and woman who are involved in this industry could kill us.
Yes.
as
Oh,
soon
very
as look
much
at
so.
us.
I also like the idea that it's just a terrible relationship. It's like small men laughing about leaving their wives.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I am. Wrestling is an abusive partner. Let's go back to the glory days when we were still in love.